Hey, friends.
Hello, also my friends.
My name is Evan.
And this is Pat.
And we'd like to welcome you to the first episode of Repeater, a little show about big songs. Repeater is a live talk show that we record in Queens, where we live, like Spider-Man. Each episode, we invite a guest to share a song that they love.
The songs we ask for can be anything that our guests have connected to. Songs that remind them of summer or their prom, or just something they heard over and over again on a road trip mixtape. You know, songs that stand out. After an interview with the guest, we invite a musician up to perform a cover of the song and then close the show with a tune of their own.
And that's the show. Pat and I host it. Our guests make it great. We're really excited to share this first episode with you because our first guest is one of our absolute favorite humans, comedian and writer Josh Gondelman. Josh writes for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver and performs stand-up literally everywhere.
A little background is that this first episode was recorded way back in August of 2015. And since then, Josh has co-authored the book You Blew It and released his stand-up album Physical Whisper.
Wow.
I know. Our musical guest for this show is Kaylyn Marie, who's an incredible singer-songwriter that you can see all over New York City and listen to on the internet at KaylynMarieMusic.com.
And that's enough of us talking. Thanks for being here. This is Repeater.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. Welcome to Repeater.
Welcome to Astoria.
Yeah, welcome to Astoria if you've never been here before. It's a nice part of Queens. My name is Evan, and this is Pat.
Hi, I'm Pat.
We're the hosts of this show. So what is Repeater? Repeater is a talk show. We call it a little show about big songs. So I think part of that question is sort of what are big songs? So to us, big songs are just anything that any song from your life that really has a significance, that has mattered something to you, or has, a particular story behind it. So that's kind of the basis for this show, is that we wanted to invite a guest to each show to talk about a song that means a lot to them. For example, if you're curious about some of these songs, a song that's important to Pat is a song by Radiohead called Everything in Its Right Place, because it reminds Pat of a foggy drive around the Bay Area, which sounds both mysterious and like he's well-traveled.
And a song that's important to Evan is Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton, because it reminds him of his 7th grade girlfriend, Brittany?
Brittany, yeah, that's right. We dated twice, guys, for a long time.
Proud of you.
Yeah. So those are just, examples of like these songs. We all have songs, I think, that matter a lot to us. And tonight we're lucky enough to have a guest here with us who's going to share a song with us. So ladies and gentlemen, if we could please welcome to the stage, Josh Gondelman. Hello. Josh, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Guys, in case you don't know who Josh is, he's a very funny, very wonderful man.
Well, thank you. This is like the opposite of a roast. This is very nice.
He's so nice.
But yeah, Pat, could you actually let everybody know a little bit more about who Josh is?
Josh is a writer. He writes for Last Week Tonight. He has written for Billy on the Street. His writing has appeared in McSweeney's, The New Yorker, New York Magazine, and will be in a book called You Blew It, which is coming out in October 6th.
Nailed it. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's literally how every conversation my mom has with a stranger starts.
She has
just a list of my credits. Yep. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, and you're also a wonderful stand-up comedian.
Thank you. Yeah, I do my best.
Yeah. So, you guys should always check out Josh if you see him on a bill somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I know what you look like now. I'll know when you're not there.
Yeah, he keeps tabs, guys. It's tough. So before we jump into the song that you brought for us, which is really great, we just wanted to kind of chat a little bit about our current state of music.
Great.
So just kind of like a little bit of a check-in to see what we're listening to at the moment. And we'll go this way to give you a minute.
Thank you.
So Pat, what have you been listening to in the last week or two?
Last week or two, been switching between an album called Silence Yourself by a band called Savages. Very dark and mysterious, good for the summer. And then another one called Songwriter by my friend Brett, who I believe is here.
Oh,
very good summer
out.
Grooves. Not quite as dark and mysterious.
Cool. I've been listening to this woman, Courtney Barnett. She's kind of like an indie rock outfit out of Melbourne, Australia. And she has this album, whatever her last album was, I found on Bandcamp. It's called, I like the title of this. It's Sometimes I Sit and Think, Sometimes I Just Sit.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's very zen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Me now?
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I'm ready. So my friends who are in a band in Boston called The Grown Up Noise put out an album last week that I listened to most of the way through today while I was doing other things, and it's really lovely, and I'm psyched. But like, I've been obsessively listening to the new Titus Andronicus album.
Yeah.
It's like a 90-minute rock opera, and it's like amongst. Most of the time, I find like when you're listening to a rock opera independently, like you get bogged down in like, I don't care about these characters. You know, like, the songs don't hold up. Like American Idiot, you're just like, I don't care who Dave is or whatever. Like, stop naming people. You're not Bruce Springsteen. But with this one, the songs stand up individually as well too, because like, I don't know about you guys, but in my life, I don't always have time to listen to a 90-minute opera. So It's nice that they stand alone.
Yeah, that's great. Cool.
Yeah.
So you brought a song for us.
I did.
Could you just tell us what the name of that song is and who is it by?
Sure. So the name of the song, I did some research on this because I had a hunch. Is that okay if I ramble a little bit?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Great. The name of the song, it's called You Belong to My Heart. And the version I really love is by the old 97's. And it was from their 1995 album, Wreck Your Life. And it's a great song. I like, but I always had a hunch. I never like explored this because I'm a very intellectually uncurious, but I'm lazy. So I've always had this hunch that it was a cover because it sounds like a standard. Like it reminds me most of like Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. So I never really investigated it because I don't care. And then I looked it up tonight, and it's originally, which now I care a little bit more and I want to hear the original because it's originally a Mexican like not folk song, but it's a song from Mexico called Solamente una vez, which just means just one time, which is like slightly different idea. And then it's been covered, I think it's from like the 1940s, and it's been covered by like Bing Crosby was the first English language one, and then Elvis Presley. But like, I think when you hear a cover, it's always like a little disappointing to find out you love a cover so much because it's like your favorite album by a band being their greatest hits. You're just like, yeah, I'm a dumb piece of garbage. But I also think when you hear a cover before you hear the original, that's what the song sounds like to you. So like if there are maybe people in this room who know the Michael Jackson song Smooth Criminal better as the Alien Ant Farm song Smooth Criminal. And it's like, just because you like one doesn't mean you like the other one, even though the notes are the same. So that's why I didn't investigate, because I didn't want to be like, yeah, this song used to be worse and they bettered it. Good job, old 97's.
Yeah, this song does have like a really interesting history as a cover song.
Yeah.
But we're going to listen to just a clip of
Sure.
the version from old 97's.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, that'd be great.
You belong to my heart now and forever. Though our love had its start not long
That's the beginning of that song.
Holy shit! You cut that like James Brown.
Yeah. We tried to get it right there.
You had like an eyebrow, and then it was done.
But yeah, that's we actually took that right from the beginning of the song. I think personally, I just like the intro. With there's like a guitar line. I think that really kind of gives you the impression that it's maybe an old Mexican song.
Yeah, it for sure. Yeah, it doesn't sound contemporary. Like it certainly doesn't sound like 1995.
Right. This is actually fun. Pat, what was the chart topper at the time that this song came out?
At the time this came out, it was Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh, The Crossroads.
The Crossroads,
Certainly.
right.
So the song I almost brought, can I tell
Yeah, this is a good song.
So Evan was like, what's your favorite song? And I was like, Hypnotized by the Notorious B.I.G. And he was like, I don't know if we want to put our singer-songwriter in that position. And I was like, I totally understand. And then I was like, Andy Up by M.O.P. And he was like, you don't get it. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. But Bone Thugs and Harmony, that's that era, that 1995
exactly.
Ghost of Eazy-E music video.
And then like a month later, Macarena took over.
Oh, sure. That song was so big for like, it was like on every radio station all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it was just like a wedding dance song. Do you know what I mean? It was like, that never happened with like Cotton Eye Joe.
Right. Or like, was the Electric Slide a chart topper?
I don't know. I was thinking, I almost said it, but then I realized I would have been speaking out of turn.
See, I have no idea, but I am comfortable saying that.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, you said it as a question, whereas mine was just to be like, yeah, and who's ever listened to the Electric Slide? No one.
So yeah, maybe we'll get into that later. Maybe like what caused you to find this song amongst that landscape.
Yeah.
But for the time being, what's the sort of story behind the song?
For me?
Yeah, like why does this song matter to you?
I came to it, so I was like, I went into kind of an old 97's phase. And I come to things late. Like I was never cool, and you know what? Honestly, the music form that I'm most contemporary with throughout my life was probably hip hop. So like I'm filling in with a lot of like rock bands that people liked over the course of my life. So I came to this band on iTunes, and I got a later album called, gosh, I can picture the cover. But I think it was the second one. It was very, very good. Mm. And then I was listening just to samples on iTunes, and I found this, and it just like really struck me. And I liked the earnestness of it. And I like kind of the twang of it. And it just like, it's a song. This is maybe the sign of a lunatic. But when I get really into a song, instead of like putting it on a mix with other songs I'm really into at the time, I just put it on repeat and listen to it whatever I'm doing. So like there have been days where I've listened to this song like probably 10 times in a row, like on subway rides or maybe more. And so it just like has like a very nice rhythm for getting through your day. And it's also, my girlfriend is also a big old 97's fan, which I found out after we met, which is when you find out things about someone, I guess.
You didn't have any preconceived notions about the type of music your future girlfriend would like?
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't like going on OkCupid like, you better be an old 97's fan. Like, that's a weird set of criteria.
People do that.
I know. Sure. Yeah, like monsters do that.
Yeah.
But so it's also, there's a quality of it that I think kind of synced up with our relationship, where there's the lyric is you belong to my heart now and forever. So that's the first part that's important. And then our love had its start not long ago. So it's like, it has this really like endearing quality to me of like a young couple celebrating their like 2-week anniversary. Like a high school couple being like, we just fell in love and we're going to be together forever. And it's just so optimistic and like sincere without being hyperbolic. It's just like, yeah, man, that's how it is. We're going to be together forever. And we met 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, there's something to that. Like, it's not overly ambitious.
No, right. And it's not like there's never been a love like this. Mm-hmm. But it was like, when I first found your eyes through a kiss when they met mine, it's like, yeah, that's nice. It wasn't like, and at that moment, Earth collided with space in a way it never had before. And so it's just, there's just like a real, like clarity of emotion. And it's like a thing that I related to a lot, like especially when we were only dating for a short time. It was like, oh yeah, this is like right and it's good and it's going to keep being right and good, even though it's only been like this for a short time.
So about like how long ago did this song come into your life?
I don't know. Like, I guess I've known it for a couple of years. So like, that's a problem. I always value novelty and like things that are new to me. Where like, if you were to go, Josh, what's your favorite song of all time? Like, it's hard to prioritize because I go really hot with things for like a couple of years, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you, like someone you used to hook up with, where you like I'll hear like the Sweater Song in public and just kind of wink and nod and be like, we used to have something, you know? So don't tell my girlfriend. She can't like Weezer. She can only like one band.
And that band is old.
That band is the old 97's,
yeah, of course.
And Red Miller's solo work.
Okay.
From the early 2000s.
From the early 2000s,
right?
yeah. And I think he's still kind of like alternating.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a show about songs. I could say things.
Yeah. You can say
I can
whatever
tell
you want.
music truths.
The thing that occurred to me is so like the sincerity of this song, right?
Yeah.
And like how simple it is.
Yep.
Do you think that hitting you within the last couple of years, do you feel like that makes a difference? Like I feel like
Absolutely.
when I was a teenager,
No
I
doubt.
wanted hyperbolic.
Yep.
Like the songs that have stuck out to me for a lot of my life,
Yep.
I want them to be grandiose kind of.
Yes, and complicated.
Yeah.
You want like complicated, dramatic emotions. Like, so I just had a text conversation with a friend. Maybe this is back to Weezer, but maybe this will resonate with you all. I said to my friend, completely sincere, and I stand behind it, even though it's the kind of thing an asshole says. I said to my friend Allie, growing up is realizing love isn't El Scorcho, it's falling for you. Both songs from Pinkerton. And again, I'm like a jerk for saying it, but I'm not wrong is the thing. And that's how I feel, because that's a song about like, oh, like El Scorcho, right, is like, God, if only you knew how good we would be together. Like, you could change me and I would compliment you and we would be together and that's how it should be, but it's not. And then Falling for You is like, oh, we're together and now I just like want to be better and everything feels better and all the things I thought were like important and cool and all the postures I'd adopted are like not, I see how non-valid they are because we have a real human connection that's better than like leather jackets.
Which is like, yeah, leather jackets is a tough phase maybe to overcome.
Yeah. I never had one. It's just cardigans all the way down.
I knew some dudes in college who had leather jackets and I just couldn't hang.
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't either. I feel like I would put one on and the jacket would reject me like a kidney, like a blood donor that doesn't match.
Yep. That's tough.
Yeah, it would be really embarrassing. Just the jacket making dry heaving sounds as it wriggled my arms out of it. Just like, whoa. Whoa. You guys know what it sounds like. I don't need to go on
Yeah, I think we're all familiar.
with dry heaving.
Yeah.
We've all gone to or known someone who has gone to college.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a dry heave is like an undergraduate hangover experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Good college memories.
Thank you. I took it as a compliment. It wasn't. It like definitely wasn't.
It's better to have them be college memories than adult memories, for sure.
For sure.
All of mine are adult memories. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I didn't drink in college, so
I also didn't drink in college.
yeah. So all
That's
of my
very
dry
interesting.
heaving moments are adult.
Dry heaving moments also the worst selling line of Hallmark cards. Sorry, I ruined your couch, bro.
Just a really lousy department to work in too at Hallmark.
Very bad.
The
Just
cards
right
that make
in
the noise when you open them.
It plays a song. Just
Which is the Macarena.
the Macarena, yeah, you're
full
just like,
blast.
oh, can you turn it down? You put on
No, man,
sunglasses.
it's a 90s party. I think we're in that era now. I'm not in college, but I assume people are having 90s parties.
They definitely are having
yeah.
90s parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. People who are born, this is obvious, but if you haven't thought about it, it's going to hurt your body to hear. People who were born in 1990 turned 25 this year. You guys all did the math before I did. That's fine. That makes my bones ache to think about that.
Oh yeah, it's painful. I think there was a are you familiar with the comic XKCD?
Yes.
Webcomic? I think there was one from I don't know how many years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, which was like an uncle and a nephew talking and they were like discussing 9/11.
Sure.
And the sort of punchline to that strip was the nephew saying, "I'm old enough to talk about this with you." Like the kid was like 12 or 13.
Oh, sure.
Like that. Or a 10, 9, I guess at that year. But it was a startling realization that I was like, oh yeah, you could have a conversation about that event with someone who was born, but born after that time.
Right.
That's what the kid was saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like a weird thing to like talk to a very old person and they're like, I was at Pearl Harbor, and you're like, I know what that is.
I saw
We're
the movie.
equals. You and I, we're the same. Also, did I say I was at Pearl Harbor? That's like very unlikely, right? That wasn't like a battle.
He just visited one time.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people like shipped out for it.
Right. Like, we're late. We're like super late.
To work today, where we go every day at this time.
Right. We missed the whole Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. So does it what do you think? Does it bother you that this is a cover?
I was thinking about it. And then this is my thought process. I was like, oh, that's kind of like, it almost felt weird that it had been covered so many times. And I felt like I felt dumb. I was like, I didn't even know that Elvis did it. Elvis probably did the way more famous version. Elvis is so much more famous. and then Bing Crosby and whatever. But then I was like, and then I got really psyched because I was like, oh, well, like this is real. This isn't like a thing I'm saying to like tie the show together. Not that it needs it. I apologize for everything I've said. What I thought was, I was like, oh, but then the song is going to be covered at the show, and I'm really going to enjoy that. So why is this any different? And then I like felt really good and was just kind of bopping down the street.
Nice. Did you listen to any of the other covers?
I didn't. I think I'll probably go back and listen to like the Spanish language ones, but I don't like super care what Bing Crosby's saying. I just assume he turned it into a Christmas carol.
I did come across an easy listening version that's totally set up for karaoke with like the crappy 3D. And,
Sure.
Like, 3D dolphins just kind of hung in the air and like floating hearts and whatever.
It actually feels like a song, and maybe we'll find out later. I'll ask later. But it actually feels like a song that if it were at karaoke would be like kind of manageable if you have like a decent voice. Because the range feels like not too extreme. And then there's like kind of at the end it kind of goes up a little bit, but you don't have to like, it's not a Don't Stop Believin'. Where you get to the end and you're like, what did I get myself into? I've stopped believing. I can't do this. I need someone to sing the song to me now.
Yeah.
Take the mic.
A lot of people in the room are thinking the same thing. At
Absolutely.
That moment too.
It gets to the
What
end.
did you get into?
Yes, for real.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Because you're like, especially if you're not crushing the beginning, like you guys have done karaoke, I assume. When you hear like just a small, you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna get ugly. And it does. It always does.
My favorite karaoke songs to witness are ones that are from like usually 70s and 80s.
Yep.
And they're really popular songs. And somebody chooses it because they love this song, and they forget that there's probably a 1 or 2 minute guitar solos.
Oh, that's great
we were
too.
in an era of guitar solos. And usually that same song will also then be have at the end of it will just be a chorus almost for infinity.
Yeah,
It just
It's
fades
true.
out.
It's like a fractal chorus. It just keeps. It's just chorus, a fabric of chorus until the end of time.
You can get a band too, like a band like Boston. Which
That's exactly. I was picturing more than.
Well, Boston's got it. Like they were notorious for having like 3 guys in the band, maybe 4, but having like mastered the use of overdubs in their era to where they had 1 guy in that band that sang. And if you listen to a recording of a Boston song, there's about 20 vocal tracks
Yep.
at any given time.
Yeah.
Doing just these acrobatics that are absolutely impossible to do if you're picking it for karaoke.
Yep. They just another thing Boston's ruined for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I also like another fun karaoke thing is song person didn't realize they only knew 20% of the words
Right.
too. Like Paradise by the
Yeah.
You don't know the title. It's Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Also, that song's 18 minutes long. Why not pick it?
Please stop.
You're a sociopath.
I'm leaving. I'm done. I didn't sign up for this.
I have a lot of karaoke opinions.
Okay. All right. What's
And you'll hear them all.
What's the best advice you could give to someone going to karaoke?
I would say just pick a song you know really well. Yeah, that's it. That's like that's the number one. That's the number one because I think if you went in knowing that you picked like let's just say a Journey song because the range is bananas, right? So let's just say you went in thinking you're gonna do Don't Stop Believing. Probably if you took the time, you don't know it that well because you would go, I have to do the woo, woo. Like and you're like, no. So just like pick a song you know inside and out. That would be my best advice.
Yeah. A lot of people, I feel like, not only the words are there for you,
Yep.
which is helpful, but a lot of people don't realize that they don't know the verse melody.
Yep.
Right.
That's
For
a very
sure.
common thing. It's like the verse starts
Yeah.
and there's no, the
There's a
lights
lot
are
of
not on.
stumbling.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. Like a song like Only the Good Die Young, which has kind of like more spoken. It's not like a hard song to sing.
Right.
But then it's like, come out. Only the good die young. And they just like lay into that part.
Woo! Got there! We got to the
crushed
chorus!
it. Yeah, I'm so good.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know there were other words at all.
Happens with rap songs a lot, too. You see people like, you know the first two lines or maybe maybe you know a verse,
Yep.
if we're being generous. But then the pace really picks up in the second verse, stuff like that.
Also, I had a friend do Guilty Conscience by Eminem and Dr. Dre. And that's like a bad and it was like he didn't know that many people at the gathering. It was like a private room thing, and it was like people he was meeting for the first time. And that song is morally reprehensible. And he was like, "Am I rapping date rape right now?" It was like very unpleasant. He like got very uncomfortable, but like committed to it, which made it way worse. Like you could have just been like, "Shut this down. I'm not doing this."
Got to sell it.
Yep.
That makes me think too of like there's certain rap songs especially where it depends on whose verse you're doing, because like one person maybe raps a lot in a flow that you can grasp a lot better,
Yeah.
and then you get to like the other guy's verse
Yep.
and you're lost.
Yep. For sure. What's that? Just Busta Rhymes in general. He's difficult to keep up with.
Yeah,
He's very emphatic also.
Right.
it's true.
Busta Rhymes, I think, would make the best uncle in the world. I would love for him
Let's
to be
make
my
this happen.
uncle. Can we do that? Does anyone
Uncle
here know
Rhymes?
Busta Rhymes?
In a bigger room, I think we'd get somebody.
Yeah, he's from here.
Astoria, right?
Busta Rhymes grew up in Astoria. Am I getting this right?
I'm sure it says it on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
We can make it say it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah,
anything can be true on Wikipedia.
You can make Wikipedia say anything.
Oh yeah, it's the best. Oh man, yeah. We were checking out some of the other versions. The fun thing is like the Spanish language version of this song is just different lyrics entirely,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But is like the melody the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the instrumentation and the melody is the same. But when they translated it for a Disney movie, they were like, let's change it a little bit.
What was it about in Spanish?
Still about love and stuff.
Okay.
But like
it's
in
not
way
just like,
more
oh,
like
get up off me, you gross asshole.
It's like way more poetic about it. Like I think the whole thing is just sort of like, I'm so lonely and walking down the street lonely it feels like this. And then I met you and everything was great. End of song.
Ooh. So the love is like at the end.
Right.
And then
But
it's
it's
like-
more, it feels more like the concept of love. Whereas
Sure.
like the English language version is just sort of like, I'm me
You're
singing
you.
to you.
Yeah.
And
you.
here's what's up.
This is for you, dude.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Aw. That was a real sweet moment we had. That's so interesting. I feel like I probably like the dumb American version better. I'm just like very blunt. I like big things. I mentioned Springsteen before. I just like things that are just like, I'm leaving home. And then it's like, well, what happens then? It's like, I got a motorcycle. Bruce, you're not answering my question. It's like, come on, Wendy. It's like, no, I'm not going to get in your car, dude. You don't even have a map. This is 1979. We're going to get lost before we hit Philly.
Doesn't matter.
We're going to end up in Delaware.
But he named her. That's the important
He did.
thing.
He names there. I want to write, my dream is to write a pulpy noir heist where all the characters are from Bruce Springsteen songs. That's like a real thing I want to do. Wouldn't it be great? It'd be like Crazy Janie was the getaway driver. And I also like, he's really audacious. I think on Born to Run, right? In Thunder Road, he's like, Wendy, get in the car. And then on the song Born to Run, he's like, Mary, climb in the car. And you think like Mary listened to the album and was like, we need to talk, Bruce. Who the fuck is Wendy?
Yeah, he's not doing a good job, right?
No, just call them both Beth.
And then they can both wonder if they're Beth.
Yeah.
And assume that
They
in
both think they're
cases
Beth.
because they've both gotten into cars with him.
Right. That's most of what you do when you date Bruce Springsteen. He picks you up into a car, you drive to a different town, you start a life there.
Never in any moment is he playing music. Is he a famous rock musician?
Well, it's like the Jerry Seinfeld on Seinfeld.
Right.
He's just a less successful Bruce Springsteen in all his songs. He's like, your dad's so mad that I'm a rock and roll singer. It's like, dude, you're playing The Garden. He's stoked. You got him box seats.
Exactly. Your dad loves my career.
Get in the car. You have a driver.
What is it? There's like that everyman appeal to guys like him.
Yeah,
right?
I love it. I'm like saying this with love.
Yeah.
Bruce, if you're in here, and if you know Busta Rhymes,
you guys should collaborate.
yeah. Oh God,
That would
dare
be
to dream,
amazing.
you know. But I feel like Tom Petty has that same kind of
Tom
like.
Petty has that. I don't think he has it in the same way.
No.
But, I was gonna say. But like Billy Joel's like a hero around here.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know that he doesn't strike me as like exactly the working man version of it, but he kind of has a similar appeal. Like he's like the hometown hero of New York City.
Yeah.
But he is a guy who is just taking his limo in from Long Island like every.
I think he takes a helicopter.
Okay, he's taking
for
his
real.
helicopter. No, that makes way more sense than
yeah.
what I said. But yeah, he like choppers in, you know, comes in and plays the Garden as many times as he wants, basically. Any night that the Garden has an open slot, that some, sports team's not there, he's like hanging out playing the piano.
Hello, Mr. Madison Square. You get a thing going on tonight? It's Joel time. He's the best. I love that. Also, Billy Joel, I almost just said this as if you knew everything about my life, but so I just got a little puppy, or not a puppy, a little old pug. She's real old. And Billy Joel has this pug, and there was a photo shoot of him from, I think, New York Magazine, where like one of the things is him like on a motorcycle and a sidecar with just the pug in it, which is so charming. And then the other one it's like, I didn't even see it till this week. My girlfriend like tweeted it, and I saw it, and I was like, this is my favorite picture I've ever seen. It's like Billy Joel leaning in to what looks like the bug whispering a secret in his ear. And I like to imagine that that's his writing process. Where he's like, I've got the title, it's Piano Man. And the pug is like, real estate novelist. And then we have Piano Man.
The pug knows best.
The pug knows best.
Yeah,
that is the new ABC sitcom.
Yeah, we'll be seeing that this fall.
What's that?
We'll be seeing
we
that
will
this
be seeing
fall.
that this fall.
What's your dog's name?
Busy.
Busy.
She was Susie when we got her. She's old. She's 8. So she's like an aunt. Because that's like 56 in pug years, which are the same as other dog years.
Sure.
And But she was named Susie, but my girlfriend's mom's name is Susan, and she shut that down. And she was like, no, there's a lot of issues here with mothering that I'm not going to confront. And then the guy that brokered this, facilitated this dog deal we were doing.
The dog broker.
The dog broker.
Also coming to your television as well. On
It's dog
A&E,
broker
though.
and then Pug Knows Best. Or the Pug Knows Best could be called the Billy Joel Whisperer. It's just like a guy who knows how to deal with Billy Joels. Like, Billy Joel keeps peeing on my carpet. Hold on, I will train him.
Send him to the garden.
You have to show him you are dominant. Make strong eye contact with Billy Joel. The guy that had him didn't know her name for a while because it was like an older couple had gone into assisted living that had her, and then he like kind of took them. They were friends of the family, and he needed to find a home, so he had just been calling her Beyonce, which is like a pretty funny name for a pug.
It's a good like placeholder name.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the difference between Susie, Beyonce, Busy. So it's like they kind of did that very nicely.
That is nice.
Yeah, it was real fun.
Um,
She's a real chubby goon.
so I was curious, like you came to the song, "You Belong My Heart" later in life, right?
Yeah.
So like in 1995.
Yep.
Like who were you and what you'd have been listening to?
Okay. So I was 10 and where was I? Oh, so I was listening to whatever was on the radio. This is real. I remember very specifically. So this era was like 4th grade. So it was very specifically, my friend Chris Collier had a tape of all the Grammy nominees from the highest categories. So it was like One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. What If God Was One of Us by Joan Osborne. Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio featuring LV, which is probably the first rap song I knew all the words to.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I was just like 100% like, I wasn't one of those kids that had an older brother that was like, here, check out the Misfits. And I was like, hey, other 10-year-olds, I'm cool. But it wasn't. I was just like, whatever was fed to me by like what my mom was. So a lot of Alanis Morissette.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I feel like every third single was a new Alanis Morissette song in like the mid 90s. Yeah, she's just on fire.
I'm pretty sure. I forget. I looked this up back some time ago, but the top 2 recording artists of the 90s of the decade were Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men.
Yeah,
like they combined to have the most hits.
And that one song was on the chart, was number 1 on the charts for I think an unprecedented amount of time.
So One
right?
Sweet Day is the number 1 single of the decade.
Yeah,
the one time they collaborated, it was just the song of those 10 years.
It was unstoppable.
Yeah, it was a force.
It was like the Avengers of songs. And Boyz II Men was already like 4 guys.
Oh, right. Yeah, they were big. Yeah, they just had to bring in like that final piece.
Yeah.
That the beautiful, big voiced Mariah.
Do you guys remember that song, or am I? Yeah, it was huge.
Do you remember the video?
Yeah.
It was such like a fun hanging out kind of video. It's like them around the recording studio just having a great time.
Oh, I love those videos.
Yeah.
Those are really fun. Because it's like, that's not how recording goes.
No.
So they had to go back
sure
into the
it
studio
is.
and be like, Mariah, do it again, but like fun.
Look like you're enjoying taking 20 takes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's also, it's like, hey, so great. So 50% of this video is you, Mariah Carey. 50% of it is the 4 guys from Boyz II Men.
Yep.
Just try not to hog your time, guys.
Yeah. Look, you each get 1/8 of the screen time on this video. We can't show you at once.
Right.
I love also like the R&B of the 90s was in such a weird place where it was like kind of explicit, but also like kind of corny still. Like the song I'll Make Love to You, the first 2 lines are close your eyes, make a wish. It's like, are you going to fuck her with a birthday cake?
Yeah. No, he's a genie, man.
Okay. You don't have to close your eyes for a genie, though. I don't trust genies around me. It's like keep my eyes open when I wish.
Who do you in a R&B early 90s R&B supergroup, or like Boyz II Men?
Yeah.
All for One was a knockoff of them.
Yep.
Is it Shy? They were like a 3-piece, I think.
Oh, I don't remember them.
They had one this was very of the time, but their like big hit was an acapella.
Sure.
Of
course it was.
If I ever fall in love.
Oh, I remember that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who in one of those bands would you be? Because there's always like there's a soprano, there's the baritone, and then there's like the
smooth
guy
talking guy.
Well, that's the baritone usually.
Oh, right.
And then I think there's like usually the guy who's like the lead vocalist and one guy
Yeah.
who fills in a lot.
I would be the fill-in guy. That's definitely me. Because I wouldn't be the guy. I don't have the kind of confidence to like be in a recording studio and like, all right, Josh, take your part. And I'll just be like, girl. Like, no. I don't feel like I couldn't put that down. Like, if this were being recorded, it would have come out like, girl. We've known each other for quite some time. I was just wondering if you'll go steady with me. I'll be the fill-in guy. Where like the regular guy would like wipe his brow and go get a sip of water, and I would, and then I would be like, I'll make. And they were like, no, we want the other guy to make love to you. That's not the guy we want. And like, well, he's thirsty, so you're stuck with me.
You'll do for now.
Yeah, that's what they say when I finish singing.
Yeah.
Just that'll do, pig.
Have we invented auto-tune yet? No?
Yeah. Also, if we invented like auto face, we were like a different face.
Yeah.
We want you to be the T-Pain of faces.
I mean, there are a lot of guys from that era that were like hidden in shadow. Like they were just like, they were great voices because
right.
I mean, that was the thing before autotune is you had to have vocal harmony in a singing group like that. So like the fill-in guy, what I'm doing to that guy in Injustice, he was like a harmony guy.
Yeah.
Like he made every song sound great is what
But
he
you
did.
could also get around that by like ditching the other three guys and just being the one guy who's really good at singing.
Yeah.
Or if that wasn't enough sound for you, the one guy who's really good at singing, and then the low talking guy. So that when he had to get the drink of water, the other guy would be like, he's gonna get a drink of water, but girl, I'm right here with you.
I mean, that seems like almost effectively like where Justin Timberlake's career went.
Yeah.
Like he was like the lead, he was one of like the two soloists really of that group. But then if he needs anything else, he just like has somebody else on a track with him to kind of like we're over like the slow talking baritone guy.
But Timbaland kind of does that.
Yeah.
He was like, take it to the chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going there, Tim. Where did you think I was going? I know how the song goes.
She's trying to remind, I think, the general public of song structure.
Yeah.
Because music education is a really important thing to
Yep, that's true.
And our schools aren't doing it.
They're not doing enough. The arts funding is getting cut. We need Timbaland and Justin Timberlake to teach us. Took it to the bridge. Thank you. The youth of today thanks you, Timbaland.
That's what it is when we hit that minor and later in the song. I get it, Tim.
For the people that are just used to like Vine lengths of things.
Yep.
Like, oh, there's more. Oh, okay, it's gonna go on for 2 minutes.
It's a long time. It's been a long time. He shouldn't have left us without a dope beat to step us. Nope. Sorry. You guys can all leave.
Thank you for coming.
I think I'm having a stroke.
Just curious. So at 10 years old, where were you living, man?
So
Where
I grew up in a suburb of Boston called Stoneham, Massachusetts, which is the hometown of figure skating legend Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah, go Spartans. That's where I was born. I was born.
I didn't
in
know
Stoneham.
that.
Yeah.
What?
I'm from Winchester.
Oh, I think I knew that, but I didn't know you were born in Stoneham. Yes. Anyway, I was just gonna get super local, like Royals roast beef guy. Are you kidding me? Like,
Dairy Dome for life.
Yeah, just get wicked Boston with it.
Yeah,
Dairy Dome was owned by our health teacher.
Whoa.
By our 10th grade health
Guys,
teacher.
just so you know, Dairy Dome is a large ice cream parlor in Stoneham,
It's Stoneham, Massachusetts. It's not like a fortress on the South Pole.
Filled with cows.
Yeah.
Who are,
so I grew up in Stoneham, Massachusetts. I was in a lot of my friends were from like the North Shore, Massachusetts, and that's kind of like the saving grace of my life, because that is I really feel like that like those kind of friends who are slightly worse influences and were like we got into hip hop like slightly later, than it was happening, but slightly earlier than was appropriate for our parents to like it was. So at like 10, I was in Stoneham. I was in school. I had camp friends. It was like a Jewish day camp, but we had this is a few years later, 1998. We were 13, and we had the first Wu-Tang album on CD. And it was the summer the second Wu-Tang album came out, but we went back and got the first one because we were completists. Just real hipster 13-year-olds. And we would play it, and there's a song called Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. And we would play it in a boombox, and we would just have the kid that knew the song the best turn the volume down at the swears, which he had carpal tunnel and had to be sent home at the end of the first day. But so that was like kind of a formative musical memory for sure. And that, so I was just like growing up in the suburbs in like an Irish Catholic town. I grew up amongst like everyone in my class grew up to be in the Dropkick Murphys.
They're doing great these days.
They're really good.
Yeah.
There's 200 of them.
Yeah.
I grew up in Dropkick Murphys, Massachusetts.
A small town.
Yep. So I grew up there, but I went to summer camp with these kind of just like with just a bunch of like Jewish kids whose parents couldn't afford to send them to an overnight camp. And so it was like a very that's like where I think I got like my taste in music was my cooler friends, because they had a cassette that was, I remember let me see if I can do all three songs that were like we played over and over again for the same summer. It was Zero by the Smashing Pumpkins, was that year. Sweet Dream, the cover of Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson, which to this day as an adult man terrifies me, and I won't listen to it in the dark. Just terrifying. And then there was one, of course, because we were 13-year-old shitheads, it was Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. And so like those guys had just better taste, where I was just like, I don't know if you guys heard Gerardo. And they're like, get out of here. It was like 8 years ago.
I think I had Bulls on Parade on a mixtape, but it was at the end where like there was enough room for something else to be put on there, but not enough for a full song.
Okay.
So there was probably about 2 years of my life where I did not know how that song ended.
Oh, dude. Kevin Spacey was Kaiser Soze. It was like a whole thing.
That's how that song ends.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a hell of a twist. You hear him walking away, and you're like, I get it. Very subtle. Because that's what Rage Against the Machine was about. Subtlety.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, they were in your face, huh?
Really in your face.
But they made it. Like, that's the crazy thing, is like they were huge.
Yeah, that album was
they had a
enormous.
Moment, man.
Their first album was also like pretty big.
Well, and then what is it? Battle for Los Angeles? Is that the name of the album?
Yeah.
Like that was like, I feel like that was like firmly established. They are a hit.
Yep.
You know, and that's so, I don't know. It is funny thinking back because they were very blunt about everything they thought.
Yep.
And that usually doesn't like fly.
No.
You know.
But Tom Morello played that guitar that was like wow 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 wow, and then people were like, yeah, we can get with this.
I think he won like Guitar World's like Guitarist of the Year like 6 years in a row in that era because he just like never played a chord. Yeah. And used 8,000 pedals.
He was communist Peter Frampton.
Coming this fall to TBS.
That's literally the funniest thing I've ever said. I feel like 3 people were like, that was pretty good. Maybe the rest of you don't know enough about Rage Against the Machine to know that I've peaked and it's over for me now. It's all done.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
Thank you. I already told myself that. Don't worry, I'll pat my own back.
Yeah. I think like one last thing I was curious about.
Sure.
So like in that era, right, of discovering that type of music, like why hip hop?
I don't know. My getting into hip hop, like really into it, was like 98, 99. And I think what happened was we had just got cable. We just got cable, which I think was partly related to, I think part of it was a bar mitzvah present. They're like, we can have cable now. And I was like, great. So we got cable and I watched a lot of MTV, like starting then. Like I didn't watch it all until then. And then it started then. And there were like really great rap videos in that era. So I remember being really into like, well, first of all, I mean like the My Name Is video, that Eminem, which is like a very clever, funny video. Even though he's kind of been like rehashing those ideas for like the last 16 years, just rapping them faster and louder. But that was like a really, and then there were a couple of Redman videos from the album Docs the Name 2000 that I really liked. And then there was the Nas, which this isn't even an album people liked, but the video was so great. It was the Hate Me Now video with Nas and Puff Daddy, where I think they were like up on crosses or something. It was like very religious. He definitely had a crown of thorns. They were definitely like, when someone hates your rap music, that makes you Jesus. And I was like, nice. And I would like I would go. So there was a record store, CDs at that point, in my hometown. And it was like 3/4 of a mile from where I lived. And so after school, I would go and I would get the rap albums and I would bring them back to my house before my parents got home. And then I would listen to them quietly in my bedroom. And that was like what because it wasn't like they were, I don't think, like if I told them that now, they wouldn't be like, we couldn't believe you. But I think then they would have been like, well, we're not really into this idea. Like I didn't have the parents that confiscated stuff. I had the parents that like guilted you into not having stuff. So like all of my friends, when we were like 11 or 12 or 13, had the Adam Sandler comedy albums, which were filthy. And like one by one they would get confiscated till there was like the one friend that had like a tape he had dubbed from another tape and was just like, we have to hear it. We have to hear the tales of the goat. And like and we would just like gather around and listen to it quiet before that got confiscated too. But so that's what I did. It was like, I think it was definitely getting MTV because I remember like that era of hip hop videos really, really vividly for like 2 or 3 years. There was like the Big Pimpin' video that was like on a huge white yacht and like in like the Caribbean. And there was the Busta Rhymes, Janet Jackson video where they were like wearing metal CGI trench coats. And what was that song called? How's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? How's it gonna what?
Who is it?
Oh man, my uncle's gonna be so mad when he hears I didn't remember this. Uncle Rhymes. Is it How's It Gonna Be?
Does anybody know?
And Busta Rhymes had like all great videos.
Oh yeah, he was great. Like I remember he was being very flashy and very like a very physical guy too.
Yeah,
cool.
It was awesome. And so I think that kind of sold it because that's like what I was hearing, and it was like better. Like, I just like the music. I like that there's a lot of words. I'm very cool, and so that was like kind of where I was exposed to it in like because the hip hop. Okay, so the hip hop radio station in Boston is not good. It's like hip hop and R&B, and it's like very heavy on like the most broad, like guy raps for a little while, another guy sings for like a long time. You guys know those songs. And so it's like a Jim in 94.5. And yeah, I'm calling you out from 200 miles away. But then there was an amazing college radio rap show that doesn't exist anymore, but the Emerson College had this show that was on from like 9 p.m. until midnight. Yeah. When I was in high school, I would just like fall asleep to it every night. And it was like really interesting, like underground stuff and like the kind of cool end of the commercial stuff.
Do you remember the name of that show?
I think they just called it 88.9 at night.
Yeah. That was like, I think discovering 88.9 was, I remember like, that was a formative thing in my high school experience too. Cause also it was like the only way that being similarly suburban in that age, it was the only way I knew about rap that would occur in Boston. Right. Like I had no clue who was from Boston except for that radio station. Yeah, there was like Mr. Lip and Acrobatic. Yeah, and 7L and Esoteric were like guys that I discovered from that show. And Rex, R-E-K-S. Yeah, there was like it was cool. It was like neat to like have hometown pride in that. And I would always call up when they were doing ticket giveaways and I would be like, do you have to be 18? And they'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, cool, I'm 18. And they'd be like, you're not. It's like, I just wanted to know there wouldn't be any nerd kids there. I'm really cool. Well, that's awesome. I think right now, guys, we want to actually welcome up Kaylyn Marie, who's our musical guest. She's going to play a cover of the song that Josh brought along. So let's welcome her up. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaylyn Marie.
Hey. Thank you. All that talk about being offended by it being a cover made me so nervous. I was like, especially because everything he loved about the song, I'm not doing with the cover that I'm performing. Because I thought, what a confident song. And then Evan said, just play the song like, as you do it, your own twist. And if I was actually going to say those things, as simple and beautiful as they are, I'd probably do it with a lot more of a lull. So make it a little nicer and less like, you belong to me. You belong to my heart. Now and forever. And our love had its start not long ago. We were gathering stars and a million guitars played our love song. When I said I love you, every beat of my heart said it too. 'Twas a moment like this when I first found you, and your eyes threw a kiss when they met mine. Now we own all the stars and a million guitars are still playing. Darling, you are the song, and you'll always belong to my heart.
That was wonderful and beautiful. We're going to ask you to play one more for us. Okay. So Kaylyn's going to play us out. But first, we just want to give a big thank you to our guest, Josh Gondelman.
All right, well, since Josh said he liked that song because it had a little twang and it was very direct, I think I'll play an original that has that, since I totally robbed it for that. So this is probably the most honky-tonk song I've ever written, and it's very direct. Go ahead and kiss her if it's something that you need, or if it's something that you might even please. Go ahead and kiss her, but remember one thing, that girl, she ain't me. You've had more than 4 new legs wrapped around that boyish frame. The worst part is I'm surely underestimating. Then again, I've always given you a little too much credit. Just a little, 'cause you weren't always the slyest guy in the heated passion of the night. Always just a little too high. Always just a little too high to get it right. So go ahead and kiss her if it's something that you need, or something that you just might find. Please go ahead and kiss
her to be. But babe, you haven't been alone for more than 1 week, so I'm making sure you are confusing things. Oh, babe, we both got our strange ways of dealing with this change. You've got yours, and I've got mine, making up these silly rhymes about these things that made me cry.
This has been Repeater. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
If you want to hear more from Josh, you can pick up his book, You Blew It, an awkward look at the many ways in which you've already ruined your life, which he wrote with Joe Berkowitz at your local bookstore and on Amazon. Plus, you can purchase his new album, Physical Whisper, on Bandcamp, Amazon, and iTunes. For stand-up dates and all that other good stuff, check out joshgondelman.com.
And how amazing was Kaylyn Marie? She regularly performs in New York, and the best way to find out where and when is to visit her website, kaylynmariemusic.com. That's Kaylyn mariemusic.com. All one word. She has some incredible recordings and videos on there too.
Wow, that was such a good time. Thank God it worked, and we are now podcast kings. But for real, we had an amazing time with Josh and Kaylyn, and we want to thank you all for listening to this first episode of Repeater.
Yeah, this was super fun. And in addition to everyone who's given this a listen, we want to thank QED and Astoria, Queens for giving us a place to do this show. Cambry Cruz and her whole staff are the best.
Until next time, hit repeat!
Evan, put a shirt on.
Repeater is hosted by Evan Ford Barden and Patrick Cartelli at QED in Astoria, Queens, a place to show and tell. Find out more at QEDAstoria.com. Our show is supported in part by Hi-Fi Records and Cafe, also in Astoria. Visit them from wherever you are at hi-fi-records.com. Editing by Stephen Garvey. Theme music by the Sunlions. Everything else by Love Nest Production. Welcome to Repeater.